Thank you for joining us and welcome to this Markets.com country profile on the United States of America. I'm your host, Armando Gutierrez Jr. The United States has a present population of nearly 304 million people, with its currency being the US dollar. The US economy is one of the leading industrial powers in the world, highly diversified and technologically advanced. Major industries include motor vehicles, aerospace, telecommunications, steel, chemicals, and consumer goods. The current account balance for the U.S. is $710 billion in deficit, with imports totaling $1.9 trillion, while exports total $1.1 trillion. The U.S.'s major exports include agricultural products, industrial supplies, capital goods, and consumer goods. Imports include oil, electrical machinery, automobiles, clothing, and assorted consumer goods. U.S.'s real GDP growth in 2007 was 2.2%, with a total GDP of $13.8 trillion. When examined per capita, the U.S. comes out to nearly $46,000 per capita. As for unemployment, the United States is currently 5.5% unemployed and facing an inflation rate of 4.2%. Now taking a look at the United States cash flow. Foreign direct investment inflows were $1.9 trillion, with outflows amounting to $2.6 trillion. Now taking a look at the U.S. markets, let's move on to the premier exchanges, the New York Stock Exchange and the NASDAQ. The S&P 500 and the Dow Jones Industrial Average are the main indexes. The total exchange-wide market value of both these indexes is just over $19.3 trillion. The political structure in the United States is a constitutional-based federal republic with strong democratic traditions. The government is overseen by its Chief of State and President, George W. Bush. The United States' main political factions are the Republican, Democratic, Green, and Libertarian parties. As for the judicial branch, the U.S.'s legal system is based on a federal court system based on English common law, with each state having its own unique legal system, as for which, except Louisiana, are based on English common law. There's a judicial review of legislative acts in place. As for taxes, the personal tax rates are low compared with other similar countries, yet corporate tax rates are relatively high. The entire taxation system in the United States is highly complex and divided between the federal government, state governments, and county jurisdictions. Similarly, sales taxes vary by state. Now let's take a look at the top 5 American big businesses listed on the New York Stock Exchange and the NASDAQ. The first one we have here is ExxonMobil Corporation with a market cap of $466 billion. ExxonMobil operates as an integrated energy company worldwide. Next we have General Electric with a market cap of $268 billion. GE is a conglomerate engaged in the technology, media, and financial services industries. Next we have Microsoft Corporation with a market cap of $241 billion. Microsoft is engaged in the software industry. In fourth we have Chevron Corporation with a market cap of $204 billion. Chevron is a major integrated oil and energy company. Our last big business is Procter & Gamble. With a market cap of $194 billion, Procter & Gamble provides branded consumer good products across many industries. Now looking onto the future of the United States, expect the Fed to cut federal fund rates again by 50 basis points before 2009. Tightened policy should continue into 2009 as well. Continuing on for slow growth, look for real GDP to grow by 0.8% for 2008 and 1.1% into 2009. Regardless, many will call this period recessionary, and whether or not such proclamations are warranted will become more evident as banks recover. Don't expect full recovery in housing until at least later 2010. Weakening domestic demand should help curtail inflation. Furthermore, coming shifts in the federal government's policies surrounding interest rates indicate suspensions of reductions until later in the years. Fortunately, the credit market seems to have stabilized. However, investor confidence and consumer confidence remain incredibly fragile. 2008 will be marked by high fluctuations in many domestic markets, including the debt markets, maintaining a strong U.S. dollar. This concludes our presentation on the United States of America. I'm your host, Armando Gutierrez Jr., and God bless America.